Hello, friends. I hope we're live. Okay, I think I did. I always forget what I'm doing when we come back because it's been a couple weeks since I've done anything. But welcome. Andrew's here. Andrew's here. I'm so excited. Andrew's back. So I think what Andrew's going to do is do every other week, right? Correct?
Yep, that's the plan. Every
Okay,
other week.
so yeah, Andrew's going to do every other week with me. I will probably do the other weeks either myself or I was thinking about maybe doing like rotating guest hosts.
That would be
So
cool.
we could get a bunch of different people in, and that way we could kind of get other people names out there. You guys know I love to do that, and then also have conversations with different people. I think that would be fun. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so before we jump into anything serious, these are serious too, but hold on. Okay, let's do the numbers real quick. Okay. Deep breath. There's lots of them. Okay, so it's been 17,164 days since Leonard Peltier was arrested under very dubious circumstances. 4,441 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. It's been 1,394 days since the WikiLeaks founder was essentially kidnapped from the Ecuadorian embassy and put into Belmarsh prison. It has been 1,394 days since Ola Beni was arrested in Ecuador. However, we have good news today. It's been 758 days since Julian Assange was denied bail, despite the fact that 2 days previous to that, Judge Vanessa Breitzer, in her ruling, said that he should be released, which is still really weird. 674 days since drone whistleblower Daniel Hale pled guilty on one count under the Espionage Act. It has been 480 days since Hale was transferred to a communications management unit in Illinois. And then our good news, I'm going to go through and get some more numbers because we've had some stuff drop off, but
yeah,
we'll figure out some stuff. But anyways, good news. We have 1,057 days of freedom for whistleblower Chelsea Manning. We have 870 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond. 599 days of freedom for Reality Winner. We have a story on her today. And 430 days of freedom for journalist Craig Murray. And today, it's been 1 day today that Ola Beni was acquitted in Ecuador. So we got some good news, you guys. It's so
that's
rare.
so exciting.
I know. I tweeted about it like 3 times because I'm like, we don't get many wins, and I'm like really excited about it. So yeah it was very but we're going to talk about that a little bit more. I have an article we can pull up and discuss that situation. But Andrew, it's been a while since you've been here, buddy. How you been? What's going on?
I've been good. Life's been crazy, but everyone's happy and everything's like normal again, as normal as it can be.
Right? Yeah, I get it.
Living it.
Yeah, your life has been more than a little crazy as of recently.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's overall it's good. It's basically like with Anna Marie, it's more or less like doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment. Nothing's wrong. Like you wouldn't tell that there's anything wrong just by looking at her.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that her surgery went well. You said her surgery went well. She's healing very well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good
like
news.
you like literally there's nothing slowing her down. Like she's like
well, that's because she's a badass.
Wouldn't know that a month ago they had to cut her brain open. Like it's crazy.
That's so scary, dude.
Yeah.
It's so scary. But she is a little badass, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, she's tough.
Yeah, she's tough. I don't know how like in depth you want to go. I know people were asking about it. They've been asking about it, how she's doing, like what I know it's like kind of up in the air a bit right now. Like I know you have like a lot of doctor's appointments and specialists and all that stuff, but I mean, I don't want to be like doom and gloom about it, but it's not great, right? Like it's not.
No, it's basically like a challenge against time.
Yeah.
Like she's had neurological issues like her whole life, and it's like she won't lose motor function, but she could lose vision or hearing like over the course of just time from the condition that she has. But
yeah,
we're doing the best we can. You know, there's a million things out there that you can try that there's reports about that like aren't the science that a doctor will give you. So I mean, it works the same way as everything else. Like literally ivermectin is one of the possible treatments.
Is it really?
It is. It's hilarious. I was reading through and I was like, there's no fucking way.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's kind of funny.
No, it's great. It's crazy. For real. Like it's been shown like effective for what she has, like to slow down like the hearing loss and vision loss and all that stuff.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
so like it that sucks. I mean, I know that she'll be fine. Like she's got a great support system. And again, she is a badass. Um,
yeah,
but it does just like that's pretty daunting to look at her
yeah.
age and
But well, it could be. So we don't know how fast or slow it'll go,
right.
essentially. So it
Is
could
it
be
for sure she will lose her vision and hearing, or is that just like it's probable but
with
not it's
so
not
people with her condition do.
yeah.
That's like just part of what happens with it. It's more or less like guaranteed. But there's like we're probably gonna have to go to like different places in the country to get different studies and treatments and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
That
But
sucks.
like it's something that 10 years from now will be like, oh, here, do this and you're good. But just hasn't been like treated like that,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty rare, right? I think you said it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's like
rare.
1 in 30,000 people actually
Yeah.
get it. And like of that, the people that get it when they're kids are like much smaller.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really scary. I mean, my daughter's like the same age, right? She's 14, right?
She's 10.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know why I was thinking she was 14. 10. I mean, not that that's much better, but or worse, but that's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah. She's tough though.
I know. It's still like I'm a mom, so it makes me sad and um I seriously I want to like take her somewhere. Like she needs to get all the life experience like if she needs to like go see a mountain, let's take her to see a mountain. If she needs to
Right.
go see
No,
the
for real. I
ocean.
was thinking about, because like we go up to like Wisconsin sometimes for like a reptile sanctuary up there and just like a whole
Mhm.
bunch of other places.
Yeah,
That's
like
basically
take
what
her and
summers
let
are
her
going to
see
be.
all the things
Yeah.
before she loses the ability to do it. I'm serious. I want to take her. Like I keep telling my husband, I'm like, I just want to take her places so that she can have these experiences. He's like, calm down. And I'm like, I can't help it.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way about it.
Yeah. Because you don't know how long either. Like it really
Right.
could just
Well, that's
depends.
more or less like what the 20th should show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a big appointment coming up on the 20th with like all the doctors.
Yeah, it's terrifying. So there's like a board of doctors between 3 different locations, like three
Yeah.
different like children's hospitals.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nuts.
it's fun. It's super fun.
It's
It's
super fun. And now you get to become an expert on this rare medical condition.
right. We'll
It's
figure it
good.
out though. It's not. It's
Yeah.
not that
Yeah, I have
complicated.
no doubt you guys will she'll be fine. Again, great support system.
Yeah.
It sucks, but I have no doubt that she's going to be just fine. Um, okay, so we have a lot on the show. Nick Brana is going to be joining us shortly. We're going to be talking to him about the upcoming Rage Against the War Machine protest that's happening February 19th. We have, like I said, we have good news about Ola Benny. We have some stuff on Reality Winner. We have some stuff that Stefania Maruzzi has put out recently. By the way, she tweeted out today that she has been warned to maintain high visibility while she's doing this reporting on Assange. So if you guys could go follow her, I'm gonna drop her Twitter handle in the
Yeah, if
chat.
you can, we should get it. We should do a like 24-hour live stream with her or something. That would
Like
be
just hook her,
fun.
like slap her with a GoPro or something.
Yeah,
We can just follow her around all day. Um, but at the very least, go follow her on the tweeters.
she did a great interview with Kevin Gastola either earlier today or yesterday.
Hedges too.
Yeah. Well,
She just
I
did.
love Kevin Gastola. Like he
Yeah,
fills
his new
the
book's
space
coming
in my
out
heart.
soon. I think
What?
ish. He has a
Soonish?
book coming out. Yeah, Gastola
Okay.
does.
Okay. I need
Um,
to catch up on books. I haven't bought books in a while. I need.
So Stefani Maruzzi's book, must read. It's an absolute fucking must read, Andrew, if you haven't read it
Mhm.
yet. Obviously the Nils Melzer book is a must read. The Gostola book's gonna be a must read.
Niels Melzer's book.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, sorry.
I'm still waiting for Aaron Matei to put out his Russiagate book. That's gonna be excellent.
And there's all the old WikiLeaks books too, like
Yeah, I
the
have like a
Empire
bunch of
according
them over
to
there.
the world according to U.S. Empire,
When
the women
WikiLeaks
of WikiLeaks.
Google or when Google met WikiLeaks.
Yeah, when Google met
Yeah, I
WikiLeaks.
said that.
There's cypherpunks, which the
Yeah.
first like 11 pages are like the best thing in the whole world, and then the rest
There's
of it's
Julian
incredible.
Assange in his own words. There's
Most dangerous man in the world.
yeah.
And that's been updated twice, I believe. There's 2 volumes of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of great books to read. Hi, Jack. Jack. Don't cause problems. She's looking at me like she wants to start some shit.
So everyone's going to be at Rage Against the War Machine.
Yeah, pretty much. I know Pasta's going, he's speaking. I'm gonna be there. I'm having some issues with babysitters with my husband's schedule, but I think I'm gonna be able to work it out. So I should be fine. Kendra's coming. I'm so excited, Kendra. I love my Kendra. Tara Reid's gonna be there, so I get to meet her in person for the first time, which is gonna make me very happy and joyful because I love her. I think Colin from INN is DC based, so I think he's gonna be there. I think Big Mad Crab from INN is coming. Eric Jackman. Obviously Scott Horton's a speaker, so he's gonna be there. I love Scott Horton so much. Jimmy Dore's gonna be there, so I imagine Steph will also be there. It's always fun to hang out with them. I need to get a hold of them and see what their plans are. So I don't even know what day they're getting in or whatever. I would like to hang out with them for a little bit. I mean, Max and Anya will be there. They're speaking. Yeah, a bunch of amazing people are speaking, and then obviously there's a bunch of really cool people who are going.
They for real. They have everyone from Scott Horton, Scott Ritter, Diane Sayer, Jackson Hinkle, Jimmy Dore, Tulsi Gabbard. Like they got fucking Judge Andrew Napolitano. Like it's an incredible amount of people that they have there. Like it's impressive. Like
yeah, it's going to be
like,
and y'all, they're putting in so much work. We're waiting for Nick, but I'm going to go ahead and oh, here he is. I was just getting ready to jump into it, my friend. It's Nick Brana, everybody.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. Thanks for coming.
Misty.
How's it going?
Hey, yeah, sure thing. Hey, Andrew. Great to see you, man.
Buddy.
Hey, I like your poster. I need one of those.
No, right?
That's cool. Yeah, I need one of those. I need a shirt too. I can't wait for shirts.
Yes, me too. I'm so glad we just got those.
Yeah.
Merch for anybody who wants it on the website.
On the website. I'm going to pull that up so everybody can see it now. Well, hold on. It helps if I hit the right button. Jesus. Okay. So Nick is from People's Party. I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with him, but he's also been one of the, is it fair to say lead organizers on this, I would say?
Yep. With the Libertarians.
Yeah. So, okay, let's start there. How on earth did the People's Party get together with the Libertarian Party?
Yeah, because I just have to say that is wonderfully
it's amazing.
Impressive. Like as an accomplishment, like you should feel honored by just alone pulling that together, let alone we were just talking about like the political birth of speakers that you have, like the width of the like lower third of the spectrum is just awesome.
Yes. It is awesome. And too, I have an announcement, Misty, for whenever you want it.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, all right. Awesome.
Andrew might have already slipped a little bit, but you go ahead.
Oh, super cool. Okay. So I think this is the first time on a stream that we're announcing this, but Representative Tulsi Gabbard is going to be joining us at Rage Against the War Machine. She'll be right there in person with us. So this is going to be lit. We've got 3 former members of Congress. Dr. Ron Paul, we've got Dennis Kucinich, and now Tulsi Gabbard. So this is going to be a kick-ass lineup here coming to stop this world war from going nuclear.
Yeah, that's a huge get. Congratulations on that. And we're going to go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, because, and you know this, Nick, everybody's been talking about like, I can't go to that. Libertarians are involved. Or, I can't go to that. I don't like Garland Nixon. Or I don't know. Everybody likes Garland Nixon. Or I don't like Jackson Hinkle. Or I don't like Max Blumenthal. I don't care. I don't care. It's not about these personalities. It's not about any one organizer or any one group that's involved. It's about stopping the war machine. And so it really shouldn't matter. It's always baffled me that there are these people who are like, hey, that person who I don't like is fighting for that thing that I claim to care about, but now I can't fight for it because that person is also doing that. It's so juvenile.
Exactly.
But there are the obvious and the usual group of smear merchants and sabotage goblins who are trying to stir up controversy over different speakers or different groups that are involved. And it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter.
No, you know what? We have a great advantage in opposing war from what we had, as the left, like in the anti-war movement of the 70s against the Vietnam War. And that is today, there are thousands and thousands of millions of people who consider themselves on the right who are opposed to war, who are opposed to the military industrial, deep state. And so I think that we would just be stupid as people on the left, and as populists to not align ourselves with those other people who want to end the war machine. And the comparison that I make is, if the People's Party had a third of Congress and the Libertarian Party had a third of Congress, would you literally tell us not to work together to end the wars? Right. Or to end this, or to end mass surveillance, or to abolish the CIA, or to do all of these other things? You'd have to be crazy to tell us not to do that.
Yeah.
And you don't even need 2/3 of Congress. You can literally shut Congress down with 11 people. Like that's the power of having 11 people to do something like that. So I think it's I think
it's naive to think that they would ever allow the Libertarian Party or the People's Party to ever gain that level of power. And if you did, they would instantly change the rules, right? They can just rewrite the rules whenever it's convenient for them. However, what this is, and what's cool about this, is that we need to revitalize the anti-war movement in this country. It's been all but neutered. And that's been a process since like the 60s and 70s that they have been very effective in doing. And one of the ways that they have managed to do that is by making us fight amongst ourselves. And then it makes people say things like, oh, well, Jackson Hinkle's going to be at that rally, so I'm not going. I mean, I got my issues with Jackson Hinkle, but I'm going to go to the rally because it's more the people of Yemen don't care about your beef with Jackson Hinkle.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't care.
They care about the drone. That's
right. The other thing that I think is awesome too that you guys have going on is the like sister events all across the country too.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, because there's
Washington.
Where's stuff happening at? Where's stuff going to pop up at?
Yeah, that's super beautiful. I don't know who's browsing, but if you go to the resources tab, you could even show them.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of different, so tons of people just like reached out offering to host other rallies. They were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, but I can't come to Washington, D.C. Like, could we have one closer to us? And we were like, hell yeah, go ahead, do it. So yeah, there's San Francisco, there's LA. I don't even know which other ones there are because there's so much.
Sacramento,
it's like building so
Austin. Fast. Wow, in Vermont. Nice. Wonder if Bernie Sanders will show up.
They've got to pay him. I'm
going to say probably not. Yeah, LA, Tacoma, and then
so
there's
those
obviously
ones are the date and time ones.
What's that?
The lower part. There's
like this, like LA is going to be February 18th. They're still figuring out timing. Some of these people are still organizing. Tacoma's 1 p.m. on February 19th. Obviously, at the Lincoln Memorial, which is the main one, is at 12:30 at the Lincoln Memorial. That's where it starts. Then there will be a march to the White House. So wear walking shoes. Let's see. So that will start. Is that so? At 12:30, it starts at the Lincoln Memorial, and then the march starts at 3:30. I assume. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. It's cool that there's sister events. That happens with Assange stuff a lot too, is people will start picking stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It ends up being like a global thing, which is always nice. But
yeah. And
by
the way, to answer your guys' question from earlier, so we connected with the libertarians like over the summer, and we started talking about, like what we have in common and what we have different. And then we did a podcast in September on the People's Podcast. Angela was on it, chair of the Libertarian Party. Will Hobson, who's the vice chair in Oregon of the Libertarian Party, he was there. And it was a great conversation. One of our leading organizers in Maine was on with me, Buzzy. And so it was a great conversation. We just went down like a whole bunch of issues, and we were like, all right, we disagree on these things, healthcare, economics, but we found we really agree on war and the security state. And so then, come, November, December, we were like, well, this war is out of control and there's just no like anti-war movement. Like nobody's out there. It was like, during the Vietnam War, during the Iraq War, there were hundreds of thousands of people who came out. And it's like, there's great people who've been working on this, for like years. And thank goodness for them. They've been like keeping like any spark of the anti-war movement alive, but it's not nearly enough. Right. Like this war is a world war. Like Ukraine calls it that. Germany calls it that now. They say they're at war with Russia. The Russian foreign minister calls it that. So it's like, what else do you call NATO being at war with Russia and then trying to simultaneously open other fronts in China and Iran, like at the same time? These people are lunatics.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's basically how it came about. And then we were like, all right, what can we do? And it's like, we thought of different things and we were like, we need to go big, because that was another thing that we thought that, wasn't happening. It's like, There were lots of kind of smaller events, and that was good, but we needed something we need something really big that forces Biden and, like, the CIA and the Pentagon and the members of Congress, that they can't ignore, that they have to answer to, that makes an impression, that tells them, hey, you do something about this right now, or there's going to be consequences. Next time, there's going to be even more people,
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I mean, because I am an activist who organizes protests, I hear this all the time. Oh, well, protests don't matter. They absolutely do.
Mhm.
Not only does it make a statement, to the people whom you're trying to reach, the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, the White House, all of that stuff, but it's also a place where we can come together for a common cause. And I think that is really amazing, just in terms of not feeling like you're alone, because I think that happens a lot because we are so isolated in our little bubbles. And it's very, especially, I mean, if you live in a location where there aren't a lot of people who think like you, so it's really good to, like, just be able to come together. And having those big events, I agree. I think that there's a time and a place for, like, smaller actions. For example, our friend Lucy just confronted AOC at a town hall. I think that kind of stuff is great. But I think having the bigger events where you really bring a ton of people together is, like, it makes a statement. And we need that so desperately. Because I think that they're so easily able to ignore us because we are, like, just kind of scattered, that when we come together, we can make a lot of noise. And I think that's just really impactful. And I think that's great. So,
Right.
yeah.
And also, there is, of course, we can mount pressure, and we should mount pressure, like, online.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, the internet is this amazing new tool that it's actually, I think, the biggest advantage, like, material changing conditions, between the working class and the elite, the ruling class, in ever since the invention of agriculture.
Yeah.
Because now, I remember I had a conversation with Chris Hedges, actually, when we were outside the Department of Justice at the action you organized for Assange. And I said, and he was saying, I was telling him basically that it's like, we have this really great advantage now that is the media. I mean, Chris gets sometimes hundreds of thousands, up to 1 million views on his Real News channel. So it's like, that's an advantage that we've never had. So we need to take advantage of that. But at the same time that now we have social media, we have independent media, and they're trying to curtail those, but it's still net positive for us. Like, at the same time, you still ultimately, in order to change things, you have to be able to translate that into real world action.
Yes.
Because they're just not afraid of you otherwise. It's like, that's why we need a show of force. They need to know that we're going to keep coming back. And that's how we're organizing this. We're organizing this in a way that, people, it's not just kind of like a one of, because there's been so many protests and rallies that it's just kind of like, everybody comes out, have a good time. It's a really worthwhile event, but then it's like, all right, what now? And the establishment can wait those things out. It's when the establishment is afraid that if they don't act, and every time they fail to act, there's going to be an escalation. There's going to be an escalation. It's going to get, there's going to be more and more pressure. Like, that's when they say, like, shit, we have to do something about this.
Yes. And I hope that this snowballs, and I think that it will. And I think that you're right about the internet. I mean, I use it, obviously. I'm on Twitter all the time. I use it all the time. And you're right. They are trying desperately to figure out how to take that away from us, which is why we need to use it now. We need, like, right now.
Right.
Because we are going, I mean, if we do not effectively fight back against them now, we are going to lose that. We are very close to losing it now. We're very close to, I mean, we're like inches away from losing our ability to speak freely. So that's not good. But yeah, I really hope that this snowballs. I think that it will. It gives me a lot of hope that we are seeing people from across the political spectrum come together. Like, we've been doing that with Assange stuff for a while. On, like, I mean, I guess October was a bigger deal, but it's been kind of a slow growth. Assange is a tricky cause. It's hard to get people to really give a shit, which is frustrating, but that's just the way that it is. But I mean, like, Andrew and I have done a ton of work trying to reach out to libertarians in particular, because they are very sympathetic to that cause.
The problem is, every activist is like a cat, right? And it's extremely hard to organize them.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is how many issues war in the national security state touches, right? Because it's not just the foreign interventions and threat of nuclear war. It bleeds all the way through to like domestic economic policies when they're slicing budgets for other things to continue to dump trillions into the war machine.
Yeah.
And even like the national security state, how that has literally bled through Julian's case to giving the US almost global press jurisdiction. So it's those little, like, the things that underlie all of the other problems. Like,
Yeah.
the military state's literally the only economic engine left in the United States right now. Like, there's no rival economically
Right.
to,
We have an
hey, we're going to
economy
put
of
$1
death.
billion base here.
That's right.
We have an economy of death. Somebody just, it was, oh, I wish I could remember who it was. Somebody just said that to me the other day on Twitter. I tweeted about the rally and they were like, war is a necessary evil. Can you imagine how much unemployment there would be without it? And I'm like, you are a psychopath. Like, if that is your response, if that is your economic model, you should probably rethink some things.
I had a friend tell me the same thing once.
That's crazy.
You know, he said, he was like, yeah, but what about all these awesome inventions that the military's produced? You know, like their role in inventing the internet or whatever other technologies, you know? And I was like, you know what would be actually more effective at inventing technologies that happen to help people or be like a net positive for society? If instead of incidentally developing some things, because, you know, in the process of killing people, if instead you were putting the money directly towards developing those things like basic research and helping people food, housing, you know, and healthcare. And it's like, that would be a lot more effective.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if all of the money happens to be going to like DARPA and the Pentagon, then every now and then there's going to be something. It's like, this has civilian application. That's cool.
Right.
That was a nice externality. Like, you know,
Right, like, here's a microwave, peasants, and a faster 3D printer.
We had to blow up a couple 100 million people to, you know, get to this point. But you know what?
How else would we have gotten the microwave?
Right? What's a little murder between friends? It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's so mind blowing to me that it's the year 2023 and we are still blowing people up for profit, and everybody is just like, yeah, that's how we do things. It's so weird. Like, it doesn't have to be that way, you guys. It really does not. So let's talk about the demands really quick because I think that they're solid. There's 10 key demands. So obviously, number one here, we have not one more penny for war in Ukraine. Oh, God damn it. So much money. What is it up to now? What is it?
Like
we should add that to the
billion.
numbers.
We should.
The amount of money that was given for the war in Ukraine.
We totally should. I mean, and now they're sending a shit ton of tanks and stuff. And this is just a money laundering scheme, you guys. It has nothing to do with people of Ukraine. Fam, we don't even care about the people of this country. Do you actually believe that we care about the people of Ukraine? We do not. And by we, I mean our government. They do not. They don't give two shits about the people of Ukraine. It's a money laundering scheme, and it's an effort to weaken Russia. That's really all it is. It has nothing to do with people of Ukraine. So I think that one's an obvious. I'm glad that it's number one. Negotiate peace. Obviously, again, this goes along with the first one. It's crazy that there's been an opportunity to negotiate peace numerous times throughout this conflict, and we have rebuffed them at every turn because, again, as Julian Assange said, the goal is not a successful war. The goal is an endless war. That's the money laundering scheme.
You see that with the model that they used in Afghanistan, where the Taliban literally within the first few weeks was like, okay, we'll surrender. Like, and they're like, no, we just want to keep fighting. Like, we're not here to like take over. Like, we're just gonna bomb you and grow some poppy seeds.
Yeah.
And even the Rand Corporation is now like, hey, maybe we should recognize Ukraine's independence. And it's like, that's like a Pentagon funded deep state apparatus, you know? And of course, Henry Kissinger said the same thing before they talked him out of that. And then, you know, Mark Milley said the same thing, you know? So it's like, it's unbelievable. It's kind of amazing that actually so much. And then Douglas McGregor, he talks about how it's like, there's no general in the military who wants to like deploy troops to Ukraine or like, you know, and so it's like, so how is it that even so much, if all of that's true, how is it that even so much of the military is like against continued escalation and yet it continues? It's like, you know, that is truly unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, it shows the capacity and the number of people you actually have to have in 2023 to have an open war, right? Because you have these predator drones, these small, tiny hunter-killer drones.
Yeah, they don't need people anymore.
Right, that can drop something the size of a credit card off of them and blow up 6 people that are standing around looking at like, what the hell's that?
Right.
And so you need far less people to operate that type of military equipment, which is why drone scares the fuck out of me. Because you could
Yeah.
literally have people sitting in a bunker 50 miles, 100 miles, thousands of miles away, waging war remotely with hundreds of AI controlled drones, just clicking a checkbox like bomb that, bomb that, bomb that.
And we know how crazy that process is thanks to Daniel Hale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the devastating impacts of that. 90% civilian deaths. That's unacceptable. That's crazy
Yeah.
that's even something that we're considering. So number 3 is stop the war inflation. I think everybody could agree with that. It's fucking nuts, the cost of things right now, especially in Europe. I think that they're suffering far worse than we are, and we're suffering pretty bad. So yeah, it's not good. Disband NATO. Long overdue, Nick. Jesus. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That one's
And
long
I'm actually
overdue.
super happy to say that there's actually an international movement developing
Yeah.
within NATO to do that. Like George Galloway and Chris Williamson, the former members of parliament in the UK, they're hosting No to NATO a week after Rage Against the War Machine on February 25th. And, they're kind of like a partner, like we've partnered as
Yeah.
like rallies. And we're like, yeah, we definitely want to make this a enduring international campaign against NATO within NATO. And, the Schiller Institute is helping. And so we're trying to like find those organizers in these other European countries that have been putting on these really big anti-NATO, anti-war protests, and a lot of times actually like here in the US, and this was part of the inspiration, was that it was kind of like, right parties and left parties outside of the mainstream were coming together, and they were hosting these big anti-NATO demonstrations, like tens of thousands of people. There was like France and Germany and Italy and Moldova, and it was like, wow, that is so cool. So that was part of how it started too, is I sent Angela like, a video of one of those. I was like, we need to do this,
Yeah.
and so it's like, we really want and are really hoping that this develops, out of this into an international kind of like alliance or coalition within different countries that are going to continue escalating actions until we abolish NATO. It should have been abolished during the Cold War, after the Cold War.
Absolutely. I keep saying we need global solidarity against empire. I mean, we really do. It's going to take a global effort. And I think that we can get there. It's, I mean, not going to pretend it's going to be easy. They're going to try everything that they can to shut it down. And I do mean everything that they can. But yeah, and I'm super happy that George Galloway and Chris Williamson are involved in it. And I mean, those are amazing dudes. I know people have their issues with both of them. Again, I don't care if you have issues with them. I really do not.
I don't see how anyone could have an issue with George Galloway.
Lots of people do. Oh my God, it's so crazy. Every time I
that.
tweet, like I'll like we follow each other on Twitter. I'll like tweet at him or whatever, and people are like, "Oh, he's such a," and I'm like, I don't care about your personal beef with George Galloway. I really do not. I don't.
The thing
I don't
about
care.
him, like, I don't mean to like sidetrack this whole thing. You can literally call into his show and tell him to his face what your beef is,
and then he'll tear you apart
politely in a British accent.
No, he's
like,
Scottish.
That's some shit.
Huge respect for that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's amazing. I mean, I disagree with him on some things for sure. But I have a huge amount of respect for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's great. So global nuclear de-escalation. This is, again, another thing that's mind-blowing to me. It's the year 2023 and we still haven't done this. How many almost whoopsies are we going to have before we realize that nobody should even be considering nuclear war? Nobody. I mean, it's crazy that we're blowing people up for profit, but the idea that that grown-ups can't handle their problems with like words instead of nuclear bombs.
And I'm not sure if everybody knows what nuclear war would actually look like. Nuclear war would create if you detonate enough nukes at the same time, it's kind of like if you have a super volcano eruption. It kicks up so much soot and ash and dust into the upper atmosphere where it doesn't rain, and it stays there, this layer, and it literally blocks out the sun. It blocks it out to the point where the temperature on the surface of the earth, especially, the northern hemisphere, would plummet about 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
And then it would kill basically all plant life, including all agriculture, which would devastate, and marine plant life. And so it would devastate the food chain. Billions of people would die. Almost nobody would survive. So, hundreds of millions of people would die in the firebombs and the blasts and from the radiation. But then everybody who survived would then die afterwards because of nuclear winter, because there's no more food, and because it's freezing, and because of just plague that would spread also.
Yeah.
That would kill everybody else. So it's literally existential. There is no winning a nuclear war.
No.
Even if the United States could get every nuke off and wipe Russia off the map, I don't know why you'd want to do that genocidal insanity. But even if you could do that, you would still promote a nuclear, you would kick up a nuclear winter, and you would kill everybody else, including in the United States.
Yeah. Yes. And even if you did survive the initial blast, you would wish you were dead.
Yep.
I mean, you would wish you were dead, and you would die very shortly after that, for sure. Okay, so number 6 is slash the Pentagon budget. Y'all, it's unbelievable the amount of money that we, without question, without debate, shovel into the military industrial complex in this country. It's what, like 857 billion per year now.
It was enough money to allow one contractor to buy Twitter.
Dude, he bought it for 44. Like, yeah, and I mean, everybody needs to stop pretending like Elon Musk is not an asset of the military industrial complex and of the government.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, he's not your free speech warrior. I hate to tell you, he's not that guy.
SpaceX is one of the biggest military contractors in the world.
Yes. It's so frustrating to me as a free speech activist where people be like, oh yeah, Elon Musk doesn't give two shits about free speech, you guys. Not even a little bit. He's not going to say free speech. He's not like anti oligarchy. He is the oligarchy. He has a numerous very lucrative contracts with governments all over the world, but in particular the United States. So yeah,
exactly. He's just a smart businessman, and it suited his takeover of Twitter to suddenly become a champion of free speech out of nowhere.
Yeah, dude doesn't have an opinion on Julian Assange.
And to pull it back through to what we were talking about earlier, his Starlink and Blackjack systems are the crutch that allows the Ukrainian ground fighters to keep moving forward or to hold position.
And he volunteered for those services.
Yeah, and it's something that he literally gave them for free as part of the deal to put the Blackjack satellites up into space, I personally think. But that's how big and far it goes, is literally the person that is saying, like Elon Musk says he wants to stop the nuclear war while at the same time providing internet access for the hunter-killer drones. Like
he's very savvy, because then he'll put out one tweet that's like slightly critical of like the war in Ukraine or whatever, and then it's like that gives him, and then the media will all attack him for that. Because he's learned what Trump learned. He's learned that people hate the media, and so being attacked by, because it's like the liberal elite establishment that never talk about anything that's actually relevant to people. And so he learned that I can do that, and then the media will attack me, and then people will love me for the media attacking me. And so he's like, while he's providing Starlink and doing all these things, and he's this massive military contractor, he's like, but I'll put out one tweet, and then I'll be like this rebel among the billionaires.
Yes. And he's very good. You're right. He's very savvy. He's very good at like creating this mythology around himself and this kind of public persona that is nothing about who he is, but he is very good at, when you can buy PR at the level that he can, you can create a character of yourself that will appeal to a certain base of people. And his fans are super loyal. They think he's the greatest thing that's ever walked the face of the planet. And if you try to tell them any different, they get really mad. And usually they'll just block you. Like if you bring them information about who he actually is, they just block you. They don't want to hear it. It's a cult of personality thing.
Jason Burmes's videos are probably the best way to
Burmes has done great work exposing Elon Musk. Highly recommend. Okay, so number 7, everybody knows I'm going to love this one. Abolish the CIA and the military industrial deep state. Again, something that's long overdue. I don't think there is a force on earth that is more destructive than the CIA and the military industrial deep state. I just don't think it exists.
This was my favorite because I feel like it was the most direct demand. It was like going to the heart of the issue, and I really feel that the CIA is at the heart of the issue. And the institutions around the CIA. The CIA is not, it's kind of like the Fed in that it's not even really a public institution. It is a public-private institution. All of the kind of most egregious, like ruling class, most powerful ruling class, kind of organizations, institutions that have the most control over our lives, they're all quasi, public and private. And so they, all this private military contractors, that are involved, that really like call the shots, that are really running that place. Like, so, they've gone all the way, like we say there in the demand. They've even, assassinated an American president. Like, that's how much, power they have. So it needs to be done away with. In this country, we didn't always have that kind of military industrial deep state. It developed after World War II. We didn't even have like a standing army necessarily, all of this like kind of military empire developed when we took the reins, when we were chosen by the global, ruling class to take the reins from the UK to become the new global hegemon. And that's when it was important to, develop this militaristic empire that would also subjugate any kind of domestic dissent.
And it's amazing to me that like it's just commonly accepted that the CIA assassinated a president, and everybody's just like,
Whatever.
yeah. What?
Right.
Like, what? Like we're just okay with that? Everybody's just like, yeah, okay. The CIA, they totally just assassinated a president. We're just all fine with that. It's just really bizarre because it's just common knowledge and people just go about their day like it's fine. Like that's a totally normal thing that should be happening. That's fucking crazy. And it's long overdue. For the CIA should have never existed. And it doesn't need to exist, and it needs to be abolished immediately. Hi to the CIA agent watching this right now. You should quit. You should quit your job. Okay, so abolish war and empire seems very vague, but I think everybody would. I mean, it's kind of hard to get specific on this one because, we're kind of doing this all over the country. I mean, you list in here Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Palestine, Yemen, Ukraine, and other countries because it's impossible to name them all. I mean, we have our hands in pretty much everywhere. The entire continent of Africa, we're fucking with them. Venezuela.
Well, it goes back to the military deep state because we're not even legally allowed to know where soldiers are dying anymore in foreign countries because it's under classified operations.
Yep. It's long, guys. Come on. It's just crazy to me that we, that we're all just okay. That we just, and I think it's just because it's been normalized and it's mostly all of us have just grown up with this as our, that's just our everyday normal. It doesn't have to be this way. We do not have to blow people up. We don't have to occupy countries. We don't have to steal resources. It's all completely unnecessary. It's what a bunch of rich people have decided, and we can change it. So let's do that. So, okay. So restore civil liberties. Everybody's going to know I'm a big fan of this one. Civil liberties have been under attack for a very long time. It's just gotten increasingly worse. Obviously, as we talked about, freedom of speech we're really close to losing it. It's really, really getting bad. The press, obviously, our right to protest is under attack. I think Andrew and I have, I think currently four anti-protest bills in various stages of development in Ohio. And mass surveillance, that's a huge one. I mean, everybody's worried about this China balloon. Y'all, you're being spied on every single day, all day long by your own government. You should maybe worry about that. So yeah, this is a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
We need civil liberties back.
Exactly. Like, and the wars are so often the justification for this. You look at the history of the First World War. That's when we got the Espionage Act. That's when, they locked up so many dissidents. That's we got the Patriot Act, in the run up to the Iraq War after 9/11. And so, those are always the justification is there's this kind of jingoism that's, ginned up, and then we're told we need to give up our freedoms to protect our freedoms, abroad. So yeah.
It's so stupid. Oh, it's so stupid. But I mean, I shouldn't say that because good, otherwise intelligent individuals fall for it because the propaganda is so strong. But it is just really dumb. That's completely nonsensical. And then everybody knows this is my favorite one: free Julian Assange. It's only my favorite one for biased reasons. It's because this is what I do. But I think it's a huge, huge, huge piece of the puzzle. As you guys know, I say it all the time. What's happening to Assange is directly impacts everything that we just talked about and more. It's a big fucking deal. So I appreciate that you guys included that in your list of 10 demands. As I said, the Libertarian Party has always been very supportive of the cause. So that's good to see. That's very good to see. And again, it implicates the CIA in this because they, plotted to assassinate a journalist. which is nuts. And everybody's just fine with that too. Like, all right.
Exactly. And it's extremely important to us at the People's Party too. With what they're trying to do with Julian is they're trying to criminalize journalism worldwide. Like, they want the power to be able to extradite any journalist anywhere in the world who says anything critical. And imagine if that standard was applied universally. Every country has that power. Holy shit. I mean, it's just so it is the biggest existential threat to the freedom of the press, that we face. And that's why it's so important to, not allow them to get away with basically crucifying Julian for reporting on war crimes, because that's what they hate him for. They hate him for the fact that he exposed war crimes. They hate him for the fact that he was never wrong and they could never prove that. They hate him for the fact that he exposed their Russiagate, bullshit cover for Hillary just being a terrible candidate and the Democrats just being a terrible party, and so that's what this retribution is really about.
Yeah, that's really what it is. It's just more about the fact that he's genuinely nonpartisan and only ever expose the truth. And in particular, the CIA hates him for Vault 7. I think that was really the tipping point for them. I think that's when the plots to assassinate him began, is because Mike Pompeo is a raging psychopath, and he was highly embarrassed by the Vault 7 releases and then went on a personal vendetta. So I need everybody to remember that when Mike Pompeo runs for office for president, because he's going to. Mike Pompeo is absolutely going to run for president. That's going to happen.
Shout out real quick to Jose Vega and the other people involved at the Schiller and LaRouche Institutes, and then also the people that served him a lawsuit. I wasn't here to be happy about that, but literally anytime Mike Pompeo shows up in public, he either gets shouted down or sued.
That should happen for all of them. Not just Mike Pompeo. It should happen to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all of them. Literally, Bernie Sanders, AOC, everywhere they go, they should be heckled every single time they walk outside. That's my opinion. Okay, so those are the demands. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I do know that if you guys go to the website, you can go to the resources tab. There's also some transportation. If you guys want some help with transportation, they're trying to get some busing together for different cities. So if you're trying to make it to the event and you are near one of these cities, you can maybe just try to hop on one of the buses. So check out that. Is there anything else? Obviously, you can donate. They crossed the 30 grand mark. There is going to be full financial transparency. Everybody calm down. No, there's no charge to attend the event, which, listen, I'm kind of excited because the usual smear merchants came up with something new. And that's really, good job, you guys. I'm proud of you. That's the new thing.
That there was going to be a charge for the event.
Everybody kept coming at me. I heard there's going to be a charge. Protest should be free. I'm like, it is fucking free. What are you talking about?
Well, there is no, let me just clarify. There is no charge to come to the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, it's the Lincoln Memorial. It's a public space, y'all.
Right.
I mean, do you think there's gonna be like a doorman with a checklist? No.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
No, that's a weird smear.
It is, but listen, Andrew, they came up with something new. Give credit where it's due.
That's what I'm saying. That's impressive. The 6 people that work for the FBI left at Twitter were like, we need something.
We need some kind of objection. No, but everybody, but Misty makes a good point, because that one's kind of laughable, but we are starting to get attacked in the mainstream media, and we're going to face more of those attacks. And so it's really important that as we do that, we stand strong, we stand together, and we defend those people that get attacked and singled out, because the media has a definite strategy, along with whomever the heck, the CIA, the Republicans, the Democrats, whoever else is talking to them, and doing this, they are specifically trying to get us to turn on each other and break up kind of our coalition.
Yes.
Because they're terrified of the idea that it's like, that left and right and people all across the political spectrum are going to come together around ending these wars, and that's not going to be like a partisan issue or a left-right issue anymore, and so that's why they are going to attack this. Like, wait for it. They've started now, but it's going to intensify.
Yes.
And when it does, then we need to hit back hard. We need to push back, not let them get away with that.
Well, and I'm just going to say it again. I saw somebody in the chat said, I want to come, but I don't like somebody that's going to be there. I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you are uncomfortable coming, then stay home, whatever. But it's not about individual personalities. It's not about Nick. It's not about Jackson Hinkle. It's not about Jimmy Dore. It's not about the libertarians. It's about ending the war machine. And frankly, I will work with just about anybody to get that done. I mean, genuinely. I mean, I will work with people that
gonna be there. Like, how could you not want to go with Pasta going?
Oh, well, yeah, obviously. We love
Pasta's
a good friend of the show. I love me some Pasta. But I'm just saying,
number one canceled person.
Right? But I'm just saying, like, there's no, to me, it's very, I'm not trying to be mean to whoever it was in the chat. I'm really not. But to me, it's just really infantile to put personalities above something as important as this. I don't care. Yeah. If you don't like Nick, that's fine. You don't have to like Nick. If you don't like Jackson Hinkle,
almost every single speaker or person who's organized has had some kind of like, attacks against them or smears against them or attempt to cancel them, like almost everyone who is on the list. And so it's like, we can play that game until the nukes are falling on us, because that's what it'll result in.
There's never going to be a perfect coalition of people that everybody is happy with. There's always going to be people who are, and there are people who are just trying to find a reason to be upset and to demonize an effort or whatever. So if you don't want to come, don't come. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I just think it's really silly to put some personal issue that you have with one person or two people or three people who are attending this event or speaking at this event or organizing this event above something as important as ending the war. Like I said earlier, the people of Yemen and Syria and Iran and Ukraine and Venezuela and the entirety of Africa, they do not give a shit about your beef with Jimmy Dore. They don't care. They do not care. They don't have time for that.
And to quote Julian in all of this, there's unity in the oppression. So there must be absolute unity and determination among the oppressed.
Yes.
And that's why I think this is incredible, because it's literally everyone who they tried to remove from the internet in a way over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
That's coming together for this. So it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Yeah. Thanks for organizing it. Thanks to all of the organizers. Like every appearance I do, I try to bring it up. I'm always very clear. I am not an organizer on this. I do not want any undue credit. I am merely helping just a tiny bit on the Assange stuff with social media stuff. That's it. But there are a lot of really amazing organizers who are putting in a shit ton of work round the clock trying to pull this thing off. So however you can help, if you can spread the word, if you can donate, the website is rageagainstwar.com. You can go, you can sign up so they can get kind of a general idea of how many people will be there. If you have questions, you can always contact one of the organizers online on the Twitter page, or you can contact here on the website. But there's 15 days, 14 hours, 36 minutes, and 26 seconds until the event. So whatever you can do to help spread the word. Again, the speakers are amazing. There's Jimmy Dore and Ron Paul's going to do a video message. Scott Horton, you guys know I love Scott Horton. There's Tulsi, was just added to the website. Good job to the organizing crew for getting that up so fast. So Dennis Kucinich, I'm an Ohio girl, special place in my heart there. Pasta, Chris Hedges. I mean, you guys, there's a really amazing list of speakers here. They've done a great job. Our good friend Tara Reid. They've done a great job of getting a really well-rounded cast of characters here to speak on this. Wyatt Reed is an amazing journalist. And again, there's our handsome fella Pasta. So if you can make it out, try to make it out, or make it out to another sister rally, whatever you can do, spread the word, donate.
Or host a sister rally. You can always host, even if you're from another country, host your own anti-war rally in your hometown.
Yeah, contact the organizers.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
That's right. Yeah, get in touch with us. We'll list you on the website. That's right.
Okay, is there anything else that we forgot? I don't want to keep you any longer. I'm sorry we kept you over.
Just huge thank you to you, Missy. You've been doing an amazing job, both, promoting it, giving us, advice, helping to organize. I mean, don't count yourself out. Like, your help has really been tremendous. And, of course, for all of your many years of organizing, for Julian Assange, you and Andrew are, two of the most committed people that I know, fighting for Julian. And there's no way that the movement to free him, would be as far as it is if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you to you guys.
I appreciate that very much. I'm sure Andrew does as well. Neither of us take compliments well, but thank you.
And we don't. It's awkward. But for real, with your trolls, like real quick, Nick, with those trolls, just troll them back harder. Like, make up your own, like,
just ignore them.
shit about them to throw back. That's Like that's
No.
what I would do.
Andrew, it's a waste of their time. They have other things that they could be doing.
It creates that like hype though, you know?
Yeah.
The like snapbacks.
There's no hype there. No, I mean, I
sometimes
guess
it's
you
funny.
can.
Because
Sometimes.
if you make it
Sometimes
onto
it's like-
if you make it to mainstream media, get the 30-second clip that like blows the fuck up of you making an anchor look stupid, you know? Like that's
different. But if it's just like a random like double-digit follower on
Oh
Twitter,
no, I don't mean that. I just mean like
don't
the
bother
big
with
scale
them.
media attacks.
Just ignore them.
Yeah.
They're trust me. I deal with enough trolls. It's easier to just ignore them. They'll go away or not. Who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
Okay, Nick, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm sorry we
Thank
kept
you
you for
so
a little
much,
longer than
man.
I told you we would. And I'll see you in a couple weeks in DC.
Hell yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for pushing the action and everything.
Of course. All right,
guys. Catch you soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
All right, y'all. That was Nick Brana for the Rage Against the War Machine rally in DC. I hope it wasn't too hard on. I don't even know who it was. Maybe Holistic Radical. I think it was you. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I really am not. There's people that are going to be there that I don't necessarily like or trust.
Right, no, dude, I agree. Like I could literally read through and name you off some people that I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that person.
Right.
But that's the point of going there, is not to even
It's
interact
not
with
about
that person.
me. It's
Right.
not about my
and
issues
if anything, if you can talk to that person because you're both
or
going to be there
not.
marching. Yeah.
Well, you don't, if you don't like that, just don't talk. Like, you don't have to like be buds with them. It's not about them. It's not about me. It's not about my ego. It's not about my issue with one person. It's about ending the war machine. Stay focused. And this is a really, even if you think that like the People's Party is shady or the Libertarian Party is shady, it really doesn't matter, because at the end of it, it's about reinvigorating the anti-war movement in this country, which we desperately need to do, you guys. It's a desperate situation.
Like I personally owe a lot to Medea Benjamin for whatever anyone thinks of her.
Yeah.
There was an interview that she did back in like 2015 or something where she literally said like, I'm an old woman, like I can't do this forever. And I was like, if I can watch that little old lady get pulled off of a stage in 6 different videos in a
numerous
30-second
times,
montage, yeah, like me as this 30-year-old dude can get out there and cause some trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not about Medea Benjamin. It's not about Kim Iverson. It's not about Jimmy Dore. It's not about any of the people. Those are just some big names that are hopefully going to call attention to this rally so that it's about ending the war. Stay fucking focused, you guys. It really is desperate. We are like, really, I think we're in World War III already. It's already happening. We're in it, but it's desperate. Like, this is a really, I mean, how many conflicts are we engaged in right now? How many genocides are we currently aiding and funding and arming? I mean, y'all, we got to stop this shit. We have to stop it. And now. And so you step above your, the issues with your personalities. It's not about that shit, you guys. It's not. I mean, this is what we've been doing with Action for Assange forever, is organizing with people that we don't agree with on everything. Like the October 8th rally, I invited speakers to our rally that I do not agree with, because it's not about me. You know what I mean? It's not about it. And I know that that's hard because we're in like this really hyper divisionary cult of personality focused society right now, especially in politics. But we really genuinely have to step outside of that.
That's why the work of events like this is so important.
Yes.
Because all of the ists and isms literally fall away as people stare down war. Like, this is, I think, the 3rd time a major event, an anti-war or free Assange event, has been organized under the direct threat of nuclear war in the last, I don't know, 8 months.
It's desperate. Desperate situation, you guys. It really is. And as Julian said, I'm butchering this, but all of our whatever ideology you have, none of that shit matters, because first of all, we've been lied about each other. You know what I mean? Like, our ideas about each other are completely off. Like, we really do. Like, people can't define communism or libertarianism or fascism or capitalism. Like, words have no meaning anymore. We all have no idea what any of that stuff actually means. And when we label each other, like if I approach somebody and say I'm a libertarian, a lot of people's brains will just instantly shut off. They don't want to hear anything. And I'm not, by the way, I was just using an example. I don't do labels. but a lot of people's brains will just instantly shut off and they don't even care what you have to say or what you actually believe in. Is it Steve that says that it's like, I think it's Steve. It's like a lazy way. It's a lazy way for people to decide who you are without actually getting to know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
'Cause
they're a
being real,
libertarian, or they're a communist.
like the only difference between libertarianism, socialism, and communism is the size that you think your family is.
Right?
Like that's the only difference between all of them. Every other change comes from that first idea: is how big are the people? How big is the group of people I need to take care of?
Well, frankly, we can't even have those conversations until we deal with the system that's designed to kill us all.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a libertarian or a communist or a socialist or a capitalist. None of those doesn't matter. You're not going to get anything that you want or your economic system or any of those things because we have no control and they're just trying to kill us all. So can we just come together to deal with that first and then we can fight?
Well, the other thing too, when talking with normal people about like the war in Ukraine and what's happening, most people in their lives don't have something they're willing to start a nuclear war over.
Right.
Right? Like most people
There's
aren't
nothing
vying
I'm
for
not
the
pressed about.
yeah, like most families aren't vying for the economic control of natural gas supplies to Europe. Like that's not a normal Thanksgiving conversation.
No.
So when it gets presented to people about nuclear war, like your average person about the situation, like
Yeah.
you have to put it in those contexts. Like, okay, what do you think would be worth nuking someone over? Like, what do you have in your life that
Nothing.
you'd be willing to take the rest of the planet for?
There's literally nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. Holistic Radical just said, I'm a libertarian, communist, socialist, or an anarchist. And I love that because I don't agree. And this is why I don't do labels. I will say generally I'm lumped in with the left. That's as close as I will get to labeling myself anymore.
Yeah. No, my favorite
but-
video from Ford Fisher is the one where I like awkward be like, yeah, I'm an Assangeist.
Yeah. But I don't agree with any of them. I don't
Yeah.
agree with like there's some things that I think libertarians have right. There's some things that I think communists have right. There's some things I think that socialists have correct. There's some things I think anarchists have. None of them have it 100% right. None of them. It's the same way I feel about religion. There are little bits and pieces of religions that I enjoy. None of them have it 100% right. So I'm not interested in your tribalism. I'm not. I'm just not. I wish that we could do away with labels entirely. They're always just used. They're co-opted and then used to divide.
Can we to use this as a transition? Can we talk about the Reality Winner article?
Yes, I'll
for
pull it up.
the co-oping and dividing.
Oh, I guess I could
So-
remove the Rage Against the War Machine.
So in the recent Twitter files, right, it came out, for whatever you think about it, it came out that Adam Schiff essentially knew from Twitter, the Twitter knew, US government knew, the intelligence agencies knew that there was no attempt by Russia to influence social media to get a certain outcome in a political election. Like that was something that was communicated to Adam Schiff and the House Intelligence Committee on multiple occasions, right? And so this article by Mint Press News very accurately says, well, wait, what about Reality Winner?
Yeah.
And so we'll get into the analysis that they have about it. But
so I want to preface this by saying, because people are going to twist this as we like somehow don't support Reality Winner, and that is not the case here at all. We have always supported Reality Winner. We have always said that she should have never been arrested, that she should have never been in prison. We advocated for her release. We celebrated it when she was released. Although my Twitter trolls like to pretend that I didn't, even though I was literally on the ground at an action handing out buttons with her face on it. But it's not about whether or not we support her. It's about the reality. And I don't mean that as like a pun, but it's the reality of the situation. And this article at Mint Press News, it's very, very long. I'm going to throw the link in the chat because it is very long. We're not going to go through all of it. It just came out today. I wish I would have had it a little bit before because I would have made some slides, but I just didn't have time today. I was busy. Oh shit. Come on, Winston.
Because I don't even think it's anything like against Reality Winner or the way she interpreted the situation as
no, I think she did.
NSA
she genuinely thought she was doing what was right.
Yeah.
But I think she was used, or at least entrapped.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is good friend of mine, Kit Clarenberg. He's an amazing journalist, does fantastic work. And this is a Mint Press News. Mint Press News. It just came out today. Did the CIA set up NSA leaker reality winner? There's very compelling evidence that that is absolutely the case. So throughout January, did this pull up? Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah. It's up.
Throughout January, a deluge of previously concealed evidence exposing how journalists, spies, and social media platforms perpetuated and maintained the Russiagate fraud has entered the public domain at long last via the Elon Musk approved Twitter files series. Let's see. Do we really need to go through this first piece because it's really just setting it up?
The first couple paragraphs are kind of puffery, but if you could pull up that
Puffery.
actually links to the leaked document in the
I
third
like
paragraph.
that. This right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the meat and potatoes, because
yes. So this is the document.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has a very deeper analysis of what actually was going on behind the scenes. But I think the most important thing is,
do you want me to pull up the document or keep the article up?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay.
Because I don't want to even be like out of place or misquote anything, because I like to be hyperbolic. But if you've ever read the Mueller report, right? The entire thing is we don't know, but, or an if and maybe, right? And that's how I personally view this entire document. Like, it talks in the second page, I think, about the potential for someone to send an email
it's
with
classic vagaries.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's what did was it Bill Binney that said that if they don't have, or maybe it was Ray McGovern, Grandpa Ray, who said if they don't have evidence, they'll say that they will use very vague wording, like we have reason to believe or whatever. And he's like, no, if they know, they will just say that they know. If they don't know, then they use these very vague terms to kind of confuse and misdirect and make people think that they have things that they don't. And it's really just about language. But this is the legitimate document. And I mean, I don't know. Do you want to go through this, or?
Yeah, I got it pulled up on my phone. I'm trying to find the actual parts where it breaks it down. But I would employ everybody to go there and read this for themselves.
I can drop. Well, you can find the link in the article. I'm going to point you to Kit's article, so that way it gets the traffic that it deserves. So go to his article. The link is in I think it's the third paragraph there, to read the actual document for yourself. But it's very vague and generalized. I don't know which part you're talking about that you want to really like hone in on.
It's where it breaks down who was sending the spear phishing.
Okay, so in this like little bit down here at the end of the page 1, it starts to talk about that. So Russian General Staff Main Intelligence Directorate actors, redacted, executed cyber espionage operations against a named U.S. company in August 2016, evidently to obtain information on elections-related software and hardware solutions, according to information that became available in April of 2017. The actors likely used data obtained from that operation to create a new email account and launch a voter registration themed spear phishing campaign targeting U.S. local government organizations. The spear phishing emails contain a Microsoft Word document trojanized with a Visual Basic script, which when opened would spawn a PowerShell instance and beacon out to malicious infrastructure. In October 2016, the actors also created a new email address that was potentially used to offer election-related products and services, presumably to U.S.-based targets. Presumably, again, that's the kind of language they use. Lastly, the actors sent test emails to 2 non-existent accounts ostensibly associated with absentee balloting, presumably with the purpose of creating those accounts to mimic legitimate services. So notice that it's always the actors. It's always, you know what I mean? It's all very vague stuff. So this goes into cyber threat actors executed a spear phishing campaign from the email address no reply automatic service at gmail.com on 24 of August in 2016, targeting victims that include employees of U.S. Company One. According to information that became available in April 2017, this campaign appeared to be designed to obtain the end user's email credentials by enticing the victims to click on an embedded link with a spoofed Google Alert email, which would redirect the user to malicious domain. Potential victims were identified. Company One is all U.S. Company One. 3 of the malicious emails were rejected by the email server with a response message that the victim addresses did not exist. The 3 rejected email addresses were U.S. email addresses 1 to 3 associated with U.S. company 1. Let's see. So the cyber threat actors created a new operational email account with the username US Company 1 on 27 October 2016. It is likely that the cyber threat actors created this email address to appear as if they were an employee of the US Company 1. The cyber threat actors had in the email account 2 Trojanized Microsoft Word documents with the titles blah, 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 blah. Both of these documents had identical content and hash values and contained the same malicious Visual Basic script. The body of the Trojanized documents contain detailed instructions on how to configure, EVID software on Microsoft Windows machines.
And then the technical analysis, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. And that's what
And
she was
even in the
arrested
technical
for, and that's
analysis,
their
if you-
proof of
If you
Russian.
scroll down a little bit into that technical analysis part, it even shows, like, if you read through there, I'm not saying you have to, but it literally says that it's like basically written in plain English.
Yeah.
That all of these companies were basically phished by something that may or may not have been or likely was from, which are those buzzwords that say we have no idea who sent this email.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's jump back into Kit's article because he does, his own little analysis of it. I don't want to,
Yes.
again, it's
And
long.
I think that that's the context to have as you read through all of this is the most sure word they use that entire time is likely. So
yes.
yeah. And the position that Reality Winner was in was basically monitoring communications, like interagency, to see what was happening and to help detect these threats.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it was, I personally, and not that I hope it's not seen as like a slight against her, but I think it was like, hey, we sent this as like a beta test internally for like group thought to see what people think about it, and it got turned down. Like maybe there probably was some fucking 16-year-old kid that was spearfishing Board of Elections. Like I can send a spoof email and I don't even
that's
remember
happening
my
all
own
the time.
passwords. Like you can
That's
go
happening
on,
all the time.
you
all
can
the
literally
time.
go on your Android app store and download an email spoofer app and send an email as a fake account.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So as Kit says, ever since, and he's talking about the leaked NSA document, which it claimed revealed a quote, a months-long Russian hacking effort against the U.S. election infrastructure, end quote. And they've been talking about it for years now, right? This is a thing that happened. It's not a thing that happened. Ever since it has been an article of faith in the mainstream media and among Democratic politicians, and that Russian GRU cyber warriors, quote unquote, hacked the 2016 election, if not others too, by malevolently, that's a hard word to say, malevolently attempting to alter vote tallies to skew results. Moreover, Reality Winner, the NSA analyst who leaked the document and ended up in jail as a result, has been elevated to the status of heroic whistleblower on par with Edward Snowden. Yeah. Again, she should have never been arrested. She should have never been in prison. The whistleblower thing gives me a little bit of pause.
The thing to remember, right, is when Julian there was a speech that he was giving in London, and he said, just because it is a real CIA document doesn't mean that the information in it isn't the CIA lying to itself, or like something along those terms. And that's what I think this is, and what Reality Winner got caught up in. Like she should not have been.
She was used.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. Don't come for me. So these outcomes, or at least something like them, may well have been the specific objectives of the individual and or entity that furnished the NSA with the information contained in the leaked report. For, as we shall see, there are strong grounds to believe Winner unwittingly walked into a trap laid by the CIA. That is my opinion as well. And here you have this absolute turd, The Intercept. I'm going to say it again. You guys know I love to say this every time we talk about The Intercept. If you are a whistleblower or a potential whistleblower, stay the entire fuck away from The Intercept. Please. Yeah. Don't go anywhere near The Intercept. Ever. I mean, honestly, even if you're just like a reader of news, don't go anywhere. They occasionally...
You don't like Bellingcat?
No. Fuck Bellingcat.
What?
No. They are garbage. They are hot fucking garbage. They are an intelligence cutout. Period.
No, they're
Every
not
once
even
in a
an
while, they'll
intelligence
throw
cutout
in.
anymore. They're just a front organization for money laundering to Bellingcat.
Yes.
That they're literally they pay more money to them than the fucking UK government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck the
That's all it
Intercept.
is oligarchy money laundering.
Yes. Again, fuck the Intercept. It's my favorite thing to say when we talk about the Intercept is fuck the Intercept. Okay. And they are known for fucking over their sources. Known for it. Not one, not two, but three. And then they hired a guy who screwed over a fourth. It's not a good track record, y'all. It's not. Okay, so before the Intercept even published its scoop, yeah, she was in jail before it even got released, which was a little weird. And also I noticed here he used hitherto, and I just love that. It's such a Kit Claire. I mean, that's such a Kit thing. I love that hitherto. Like that's very just criminally unused. So let's see. Winner's incarceration. I really wish I had this better. Like I had gotten to go through and like pick out some of the best points. I just did not have time today, you guys. Kids in school and basketball, and there's a sleepover happening. There's the whole thing. While the Intercept declared the document, quote, displays no doubt that a wide-ranging cyber attack in which spear-phishing emails were dispatched to over 100 local election officials mere days before the 26th election, quote, was carried out by the GRU, end quote. Its content suggests nothing of the kind. Nothing of the kind. The report authored by an NSA intelligence analyst does attribute this activity to the GRU, but the underlying, quote, raw intelligence, evidence upon which that conclusion is based, is not contained in the file. It is abundantly clear, though, the finding was far from concrete anyway. For one, the report states, quote, it is unknown if the GRU was able to compromise any of the entities targeted successfully, end quote. So they don't even know if it was a successful operation. Still, more significantly, the agency is said only to be probably, there's another one of those words, responsible, and analyst judgment based on the purported hacking campaign having, quote, utilized some techniques that were similar to other GRU operations, end quote. The analyst is nonetheless forced to concede, quote, this activity demonstrated several characteristics that distinguish it, the emphasis is added, from known prior GRU hacking operations. So it's kind of like other GRU operations, but not really. And we don't know if it was successful, but it was, and probably it was the GRU. You know what I mean? Like this is.
So the information that they're after too, right? The computers of the election officials aren't the ones that control the election software. They're not the ones that that control the display of the election software on websites that show poll voting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you can like go and change what a news website says by doing a whole bunch of like 12 minutes of like 18-year-old hacker stuff.
Yeah.
And then you also have the voter registration data, which may be able to be accessed from that level, but probably not. But the other thing you can get is what's called walk lists, right? And that's like just the lists of registered voters for certain things. And literally all of the things that you can get from someone's computer, sort of maybe like trying to find blackmail or evidence of election tampering yourself or what have you, is everything that's already public. Like any of us could call up to the elections office and ask for all of the registered Democrats in Maricopa County, and they would send it to you in the email, and you say, thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so here he gets into some more of the ridiculousness here. Yet further cause for doubt about the report's clearly unsupported headline claim is provided by the extremely unsophisticated methods employed by who or what was behind the spear phishing efforts, which included the use of a blatantly fraudulent Gmail account. Evidently, this was not a professional operation and had very little chance of succeeding. Why would an elite intelligence agency stoop to such rudimentary tactics, particularly if its operatives were seriously determined to compromise U.S. election integrity? That's the biggest thing, is that this is such, again, like Andrew said, this is like 16-year-old hacker shit. Really? Yeah. The GRU? You think that I think that they're a little bit more sophisticated than that. I mean, I'm sorry. not a Russia fan, like I'm not a Putin fan, but I think that they can do a little bit better than this. Even more dubiously, among the named recipients of a purported GRU spearphishing email is the election office of American Samoa, an unincorporated U.S. territory located in the South Pacific, southeast of Samoa itself. Its population is just 56,000, and they cannot vote in mainland elections. So why would Russia bother? They wouldn't, you guys. While a criminal hacker might have an interest in personal data held by such an entity, it is difficult to conceive what possible grounds a military intelligence agency would have for seeking access to such a trove. The interpretation is furthered by a chart in the NSA report referring to how the same hacker also attempted spear phishing campaigns targeting other email addresses, including those registered with Mail.ru, a Russian company. These shortcomings, rather than a concerted cover-up, may account for why the report was not publicized or acted upon by the NSA. The Intercept, however, bombastically dubbed the document, quote, the most detailed U.S. government account of Russian interference in the election that has yet come to light. Fuck the Intercept. Yeah, so I don't want to go through the entirety of this. It's a very long, very well done article. It's very detailed. I highly encourage you to please go read it and then jump on Twitter and give Kit a big thumbs up. And support his work in general, because he does unbelievably amazing work. But this is, I mean,
well, so this also shows the imbalance of power among the liberal class.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't want to be like rude or anything about it, but Reality Winner's family is very, like, they've done well for themselves. Like, they've obviously worked hard and got into a good situation in life. Reality did a lot of wonderful, not depending on how you look at the world, but impressive things in her life up to this point. Right. And they're your classic liberal. Like, they're the person that when you think of someone in California or Arizona or wherever they're from watching CNN, like, that is the person. Right. And it just shows the difference because, right, the Biden family, Trump's families, homes are getting raided, right? Classified documents are getting pulled out of their box fulls of them. And this one email that literally says, we don't know what's going on, is the one that sends them for a loop, that have them put someone in jail over it. When I personally think it was, hey, we need to spin this, right? Because the Intercept's a bunch of little Bellingcat scumbags. So they get this document and they say, hey, we're going to run it like this shows everything that we've said for the last 15 months is true.
Yeah. And
then it turns into, hey, we're not even going to backtrack on this. Like, she's going to jail. It makes her look like a hero. Let's keep running with it. And gets them viewers, as disgusting as it sounds, them viewers and them ratings, while also currying favor from the Russiagate populace, right? But at the same time, they can't have people read the document because it shows that they don't actually know what happened. And you can't have people knowing that the multi-trillion-dollar intelligence apparatus can't tell you where an email came from and can't even tell you whose computers got compromised, right? Like, our billion-dollar email apparatus or our billion-dollar intelligence apparatus can't stop a 16-year-old with a fucking email fetish, right? Yeah. Like, that's how false the security apparatus is.
This is all garbage, you guys. It's all garbage. And they use this as some way to, like,
as a way to ruin someone's life.
It ruined Reality Winner's life, yes, but I mean, bigger than that, and I don't mean to, like, diminish that aspect of it, but bigger than that, this has been used as a way to, like, prove that Russiagate was a real thing, or, like, lend credibility to this bullshit conspiracy theory that was cooked up, to cause chaos and run cover for Hillary Clinton being an absolutely horrible candidate and losing to her hand-picked opponent. You know what I mean? Like, it's all garbage. And I feel bad for Reality Winner. I think that she was 100% used in this situation, and it sucks for her because she lost nearly 5 years of her life to this bullshit. But yeah, it's please go read this article. Share it.
Honestly, it's a great example of why the Espionage Act shouldn't exist.
Yes.
Because this email is literally like the most non-toxic thing you can fucking release. Like, it shouldn't be classified. This should just be part of a publicly accessible information stream for journalists and people to tap into, which is the crazy part. Is she shouldn't even have had to release this email. Like, if we're collecting this information, it should just be out to the public for them to analyze and view, or journalists to publish about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I dropped the link one more time. Please go check it out. Support Kit, obviously, love him. Great guy.
And support reality too. I'm sure she still has fundraisers going on.
If you want to do that, yeah, absolutely.
She, I don't remember where it was, but she recently spoke at a conference too, which was she hasn't done too many of those, so it was really good.
I'm surprised she's able to do that because she's still on parole. But okay, so I want to move on. I'm going to do David McBride's show at 11 in 35 minutes. So I want to get through these other two pieces of news that we have, especially because one of them is good news. We'll do the good news last because I like good news. So let's see. What's this? Nope, not you.
Stefania Maruzzi. And again, if you're not following Stefania Maruzzi,
go follow Stefania Maruzzi.
Find her on Twitter.
I put her Twitter handle in the chat earlier. It's S Maruzzi. Okay, so and in my opinion, I tweeted this, and every time I tweet something complimentary to her, she responds like, "Oh, don't be silly," or "Let's not exaggerate." And I'm like, "I'm not exaggerating. You're amazing." In my opinion, she is one of the most important journalists working today. That's just my opinion. So she has been in a, I mean, like nearly a decade long. I mean, it's been years. Battle with multiple different governments attempting FOIA requests to get information about the Julian Assange case and how it's been handled behind the scenes. So this came out a couple days ago, I think. On February 1st. Revealed Sweden destroyed a substantial part of its documents on Julian Assange. I wonder why they did that. That's weird. That's really weird. Okay, so destroyed. A substantial portion of the documents on Julian Assange were destroyed by the Swedish prosecution authority, which investigated him for rape. Did that come up? Is it up?
No, it didn't come up.
Okay, glad I asked. Well, StreamYard's weird. It used to be if you just hit like share your screen, it would immediately pop up. And now you have to like actually go and physically add it. And I always forget. Okay. Destroyed. A substantial portion of the documents on Julian Assange were destroyed by the Swedish prosecution authority, which investigated him for rape in a criminal investigation open and closed 3 times between August 2010 and November of 2019. The materials destroyed were correspondence between the Swedish Prosecution Authority, or the SPA, and the Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, which was providing the SPA with support on the case since Assange was under investigation in Sweden, but had been in London since 2010. The correspondence between the SPA and the CPS is absolutely crucial to understand and reconstruct what really happened in the Swedish rape investigation. That investigation was ultimately dropped once and for all without Assange ever being charged, but for almost a decade has deprived him of the empathy of public opinion, especially the empathy of that segment of the public more sensitive to the WikiLeaks revelations on war crimes and torture, often the segment also more mindful of women's rights. And that's exactly what this was all about. It was an attempt to get him to Sweden so that they could easily extradite him to the United States. And if that wasn't going to work, it was at least going to sully public opinion and make people turn against him. The highly anomalous handling of the Swedish case by prosecutor Marian Nye, I'm not sure, resulted in justice for no one, contributed to the devastation of Assange's health, cost British taxpayers at least £13.2 million to keep the Ecuadorian embassy under siege by Scotland Yard just from 2012 to 2015. £13.2 million just for those 3 years. He was there much longer, just for those 3 years.
And that's just that one agency too. That's not the CIA. That's not MI6. That's not. Yeah.
A lot of money was spent on this one dude.
Interpol.
And resulted in the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention decision that Sweden and the United Kingdom had arbitrarily detained Assange since 2010. In the case of Sweden, the first time the UN group has ever made such a decision in the country's history. In September 2019, the then UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, who had investigated the case, Nils Melzer, listed 50 perceived due process violations, including proactive manipulation of evidence, in an official letter to the Swedish government. Assange is currently incarcerated in Britain's harshest prison, Belmarsh, in London, awaiting British justice's. I gotta speak slower.
Decision on his appeal.
I got it. Decision. Sometimes when I read really fast, and then my words
I get it.
go together. awaiting British justice's decision on his appeal against extradition to the United States. If extradited, he risks 175 years in prison for obtaining and publishing classified U.S. documents, which allowed revealing war crimes and grave violations of human rights. From Amnesty International to Reporters Without Borders, all the major human rights and press freedom organizations in the world have condemned his extradition and called for his liberation. The fact that documents were destroyed by the Swedish prosecution authority has just surfaced thanks to our lengthy FOIA litigation, and comes almost 6 years after the very same FOIA litigation unearthed that key documents were destroyed by the Crown Prosecution Service. It is now clear that both of the authorities handling the Swedish case, the SPA and the CPS, destroyed a large part of their email exchanges. Why? Why indeed? What did those documents contain, and on whose instructions were those materials destroyed? Now more than ever, some sort of explanation is urgently needed, considering that the United States is currently acting through the Crown Prosecution Service itself in the extradition proceeding against Julian Assange. Since 2015, we have been engaged in trench warfare in Sweden, Britain, the United States, and Australia to access the full documentation on the case under FOIA, represented by 7 lawyers. This investigative work has allowed us to find the answer to one of the key questions around the Swedish case. Why did Swedish prosecutor Marianne Nee, who reopened the rape case in September 2010 after Stockholm's chief prosecutor Eva Finney, I don't know, had immediately dismissed it because in her judgment the suspect's conduct disclosed no crime at all, refused to question Assange in London for 6 years. Documents obtained in 2015 by the author of this article from the Swedish Prosecution Authority under FOIA revealed that it was the Crown Prosecution Service, specifically Mr. Paul Close, a lawyer with the CPS's Special Crime Division, the division responsible for prosecuting high-profile cases, which advised the Swedish Prosecution Authority against the only legal strategy that could have brought the case to a rapid resolution, namely questioning Julian Assange in London, rather than insisting on extradition to Sweden simply to question him. Again, this was all about getting him to Sweden so they could extradite him.
Right.
In advising the Swedes not to question Assange in the United Kingdom, the Crown Prosecution Service helped create the legal paralysis trapping the WikiLeaks founder in Britain from 2010 onwards. After all options for fighting his transfer to Sweden had been exhausted and Assange took refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy, that legal paralysis was compounded by a diplomatic impasse. This quagmire left him in a legal limbo, under investigation for years, suspected of being a rapist, but never either charged or cleared once and for all. Why did the Crown Prosecution Service behave in this manner? Why did they write to Marianne Nee, "Don't you dare get cold feet," when in 2012 the media reported that Nee might drop the case? In 2013, even the Swedish prosecutors began to question the dead end into which they had waded at the advice of the British authorities by insisting on extradition to Sweden. In October 2013, Marianne Nee considered dropping the extradition case. Quote, "This would affect not only us, but you too in a significant way," end quote, she wrote to the Crown Prosecution Service. It is unclear why dropping a Swedish extradition effort would affect the British. She also wrote, quote, "I hope it didn't ruin your weekend," end quote. Again, why would a Swedish prosecutor dropping an extradition attempt for a sex case in Sweden ruin the weekend of Crown Prosecution Service authorities? Keir Starmer, the Crown Prosecution Service, and the troubling destruction of emails by the CPS. Some of these critical decisions and advice on the Julian Assange case were provided by the Crown Prosecution Service between 2010 and 2013, when it was headed by Keir Starmer, current leader of the Labour Party. What role, if any, did Starmer play in the case? Digging into these facts, we discovered that the Crown Prosecution Service had deleted all data associated with Paul Close's email account, which cannot be recovered. We unearthed this fact in 2017 and have been trying to obtain explanations from CPS ever since. British lawyer Estelle Dehaun, a top-notch FOIA specialist representing us together with Jennifer Robinson in our litigation in the United Kingdom, tells... My Italian is no good. I'm not even going to try. My client has been relentless in her request to know what has been destroyed, why, and on whose instruction. Unfortunately, this relentlessness has not brought forth any serious explanation from the CPS. They claim to have no way of knowing what was lost when they destroyed the documentation and have never produced a written policy justifying the destruction of documents. How much longer is this? Oh, it's pretty long. Okay, I'm not reading this whole fucking thing.
So that's how those villainous scumbags like Starmer and things climb to the top, right?
Yeah.
That's how you earn those points that get you put ahead.
Yeah, of course. That's how Judge Vanessa Baratzer was just given a promotion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this, that's how this all works. If you are willing to play ball and you're willing to take one for the team and do something incredibly corrupt, you will suddenly be given an amazing, cushy job. And that's just
or
how
in the case of the Venezuelan president that sold Julian for the IMF loan, you get your collectible plate from the the British Museum.
from the gift shop.
Yeah.
Good
Your
time.
fucking gift shop China.
Yeah. Okay, so I put the link to that article. Again, Stefania Marizzi is one of the most important journalists working today. I highly support you. Go follow her, support her work. And as I mentioned, she just tweeted out today. I'll see if I can find that tweet really quick so I can pull it up so you guys can see that I'm not making that shit up.
And she's had recent interviews with Kevin Gostola as well as Chris Hedges. You said?
Yep. Yeah, on the Real News. I can tweet the link to that as well.
And the reason this is so dangerous is because she's helping to pull this man out of the Orwellian memory hole, right? She's returning him to public consciousness, cleared of
and exposing the fuckery
yeah
that's involved in this case.
Yeah. And in a way exposing the head of the Labor Party that just went through the Labor Files scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have been advised to keep a high profile while keeping investigating the Julian Assange and WikiLeaks case, quote, for your safety, I was told. Yeah. We see what they do to people that surround Julian. I mean, we're going to talk about Ola Benny next. This is what they do. This is what they do. I mean, they tried to steal the diaper of one of his kids, and you know what I'm saying? Like they'll come for you. They will fucking come for you especially if you're going to do investigative journalism that's going to expose them. It's not their favorite thing. Right. It's not. Okay. There's that. All right, so I have like 24 minutes before I have to be on radio on TNT. If you guys want to check it out, I'm going to be on TNT Radio, David McBride show. I used to work there.
Oh, he's on TNT?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fire.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's a good place to work. I was just so burnt out, you guys. I'm still kind of burnt. I mean, we talked about this last time I did a show, a vigil. It's hard.
It's painful. Dude, that's why I have so much respect for Pasta and them, because they're still going. Pasta's like, yeah, I'm doing like 18 shows a week. And I'm
I never intended to like do shows. Like I'm an activist. The only reason I ever did shows is so I could call attention to my activism. And then suddenly I was like live on the radio 5 days a week. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute.
It's a lot.
And then I had like 7 deaths in 2 months in my life. And I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm taking a break. I need a break. I need a fucking break. Hi, Grumpy. Grumpy. All right. Anybody want some good news?
Some happy news?
I want some good news. I like good news. We don't get a lot of it. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Ola Benny has been acquitted. So, let's pull this up. Grumps, can you please stop? Can you get out of the way? Hi. Hi. Hi, pretty lady. Hi, pretty lady. Okay. Digital rights activist Ola Benny declared innocent by Ecuadorian court. Finally. If you guys have not been following this case, which I don't think most people have been because it's in Ecuador, he's like a lesser known figure. We've been covering it here, obviously, since Jump. But most people have not been following it. But if you have not, seriously, go back and take a look at this shit. The shenanigans involved in this case are so I mean, it was like a circus sideshow, this case.
Well, it was literally, wasn't it the day before Julian got arrested? They slapped charges on him and tried to...
Same day.
Yeah.
Same day. Same fucking day. And this is a friend of Julian's. So like I said, with Stefania, this is what they do to people who are around Julian. So Swedish software developer and digital rights activist Ola Benny was acquitted of charges of hacking a computer on Tuesday, January 31st. Was acquitted unanimously by a tribunal of 3 judges after he delivered a 4-point. I would like to hear his, I don't know if I can watch 4.5 hours of a statement, but, I would like to hear what he had to say. Benny has faced persecution from the Ecuadorian state since 2019, and the legal proceedings against him have been marred by irregularities. That is an understatement. This case is, I mean,
dude, real quick, good on him for a 4.5 hour long statement.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking...
But seriously, I mean, we've covered it here. You can go back and watch our coverage of it if you want to, but you can go back and look at his Twitter feed. The shit that they put this dude through in this court process is phenomenal. It is, I mean, it would be funny if it weren't like the destruction of somebody's life. You know what I mean? It really was like prosecutors showing up with like no. It's kind of like in Julian's case when the the guy showed up and he's like, "Oh, I left my charger at home." You're only the prosecutor on the most important court case on press freedom in history, and you forgot your charger. I mean, it's just a fucking joke. Anyways. So the prosecution has declared that it will file for an appeal, though. Of course. Fucking course. So his legal team is already preparing for that. It's insane that they're going. I mean, it's not insane. It's expected, but it's just fucking nuts. So yeah, he was arrested April 11th, 2019, the same day his friend WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London and arrested. From the outset, activists around the world pointed out that the procedural lapses in the arrest and condemned the then Lenin Moreno government for persecuting Benny. He was released after 70 days in prison. So they only kept him in prison for 70 days, but then the rest of this time he has had to deal with just like court date after court date and delays and COVID and all of that shit. It's just been like a constant legal warfare. So it's just, another example of lawfare. The prosecution kept amending the charges against Benny. Finally, they came up with the accusation of illegal non-consensual access to a computer or communication system, which carries a jail sentence of anywhere between 3 to 5 years. In September of 2019, the judge presiding over the trial was forced to recuse himself. Yeah, it was a fucking mess. And so he was acquitted, which is good. But they're going to appeal. So go follow Ola on Twitter. It's just his name at OLABINI. And we'll keep up with this. We'll follow this through the appeal and all of that bullshit. Hopefully they just leave him alone.
This is in no small way like as important as like Commander X having getting out of jail. And even more so because the charges, I don't know exactly what Ola Benny was facing charges for.
Nothing.
Right. But I mean, even like the like make believe shit, because they always try to like make some shit up.
They had to keep amending the charges. They just kept like, oh, well, we're going to try. No, that's not going to work. So we'll do that. No, that's not going to work. Yeah. And then finally they're like, okay, we're going to do this illegal non-consensual access to a computer or communication system. Like they didn't have anything on him. This was all about his relationship with Julian.
As big as the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what
it was bullshit from jump. It's always been bullshit. Yeah. I'm very happy for him. I hope that it's over. I hope that they don't appeal. Just leave the guy alone. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's just absurd. So, but we do have good news. Like that's good news. Yes, they're going to appeal, but he was acquitted. That's amazing. Head over to his Twitter. Congratulate him on that. Follow him to keep updated. We will obviously continue to cover it as this continues on. Hopefully they just leave him alone though. And yeah, I like good news. It's a good time.
It is. That's exciting.
All right. I am going to
go. McBride, I said hi.
I will.
Give him a digital hug for me.
I guess I could drop a link for that. TNT.
Because that's exciting. Like I had heard that he was doing a show, but I didn't realize like that it was like an actual like TNT program.
Well, he's like friends with. Oh, whoopsie. Yeah. He's friends with Mike Ryan. Shout out to Mike who took a huge chance on me. Dude, I'd never done live radio before, and dude gave me 3 hours a day, 5 days a week.
I mean, that's dope. That's for real awesome.
I'm like, are you sure you want me to? He's like, yeah, I like your style. I'm like, okay, dude, I've never done this before though. No idea what the fuck I'm doing.
It worked. Hey man, I thought your show was dope. You literally bring everybody on and touch on everything.
Dude, like, I told you, I don't care. I'll talk to anybody. Yeah. Anybody. Yeah. Like I had people that I do not agree with on some things.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll talk to you. If you got something to say, I'll talk to you. Like we don't have to agree, but if you're interesting and you have a story and I'm down to have a conversation, let's do the damn thing. I like to do like I would go back if they gave me somebody who would legitimately help me book.
Yeah.
Because I had somebody who was supposed to help me book.
Well, it's hard too, like that many time slots.
15 hours, because I had to have a different guest each hour. Yeah. And then trying to organize all of that, keep it organized, deal with time zones, try to like, oh my God, it was so, and then also research and prep and do the show. It was a lot. And then they had somebody who was supposed to be helping me book who did not help me book. Like, I think I went back and I looked at like 147 hours or something. And I think that she booked like 11.
Yeah, I probably did more behind the scenes for that than you did.
Yes, Indy from INN, and I think Indy booked more people for me than she did.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, that's
for
incredible.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I was just like, I can't do this on my own. Like, that's a lot for anybody. And plus I have kids and a house and a husband and other stuff. And I'm an activist. And I just did not. It was a lot.
Yeah, no, that was when you were doing that, I was like mind blown. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
It was so stressful. And I hate booking anyways. I don't like asking people because I'm always like,
and you're gonna do it like well too. You know, it's not like you're gonna like have it half-ass. Like that's not.
But I hate asking people to come on my shows because I'm always like, who the fuck would want to talk to me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why would this person want to talk to me? And so it's
You're
really hard, and I get
fucking
really
Winston,
anxious.
dude. You gotta.
I get really anxious. I'm like, they're gonna say no, and then I put it off because I'm like scared, and it's like I give like this. It's a whole like thing. It's a whole stressful thing in my head. And it was a lot, and I was exhausted. So if they gave me like a legitimate booker, I think I could totally go back. I loved doing it. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It was, and like to be thrown into the deep end like that, absolutely zero. I mean, this is the most live I get is this show.
Yeah, this is like the little leagues of the little leagues, you know. Like,
and we're like, there's no structure, there's no ad breaks. I don't have to do like any of that
right,
stuff.
We're not selling coffee beans or steroids.
No, and like to be to just be thrown in was so stressful. But it was fun. My very first guest was Keith McHenry. And I mean, that's a pretty dope get right there. To have Keith McHenry as your first guest on your radio show. I was pretty excited about that. I still brag about that. All right, I'm gonna go take a break before I go on with David McBride. Everybody, did I put that in the chat or did I forget? Yeah, I did. Okay, so tntradio.live or tntradiolive.podbean. You can find it on the App Store and all that stuff too. I'm going to be on in 13 minutes with David McBride, so everybody come check that out. Thanks for tuning in today, Andrew. It's good to have you back.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
So he'll be here every other week, and I think I'll have like rotating weirdos pop in the other day.
And if I can pop in more, I'll try.
Yeah, that's fine. I know you got a lot going on, so that's cool. Sleepy was supposed to be here tonight, and I think he forgot. So I'll see if he wants to come next week. Maybe he can be my guest host. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We love you. Go read the article from Stefania and from Kit.
And share the rally around.
Yeah, share the rally around. Thanks to Nick for coming on.
Make your own.
Yeah. Thanks to Nick for coming on, for organizing. I know some of you guys don't like him. It's fine. You don't have to. It's about ending the wars. Remember that. Just remember that.
So for everybody, I still have a picture of him eating the bagel in the bushes. For anyone who's wondering, but I don't hold that against him.
No, I mean, I don't hold it. Listen, he's organizing an anti-war rally. Yeah. If you organize it, listen, if you don't like Nick, organize an anti-war rally. I'll come to yours too. Totally willing to come to yours. He's the one organizing it right now. So I'm going to go to that. I think everybody should try.
Yeah, I think he's doing an absolutely amazing job.
Yeah, honestly, I'm privy to like some of the behind the scenes stuff. They're working really, I mean, if you've organized, it's exhausting. It's like 24 hours a day. They're working really, really hard. So kudos to them.
And just seeing like where like Jimmy Dore going on Tucker Carlson to hype the protests, like shit like that. Like that's something you can't have happen when there's a bunch of people just bickering behind the scenes. Like that's something that like people are actually putting work towards, that it'll get supported at that level by someone like that. So it's
Jimmy's dope anyway.
To see, yeah,
Jimmy's dope. I don't care if you don't like Jimmy. I love Jimmy Dore. He's a friend. He has always been incredibly kind to me and to us. He's always been very supportive of Assange. And he is a genuinely off-air, genuinely kind, thoughtful, and generous human being. So I will die on that hill every day of the week. He's always been amazing to me. So shout out to Jimmy Dore. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go take a break real quick. I got 10 minutes. I love you. We'll see you next week, or I'll see you next week. And yeah, that's it. All right, bye guys. Have a good night.
Later.